following podcast may contain some adult language. You've been warned.
Welcome to Finding the Narrative, Genesys RPG Podcast. This is a show dedicated to the Genesys Role Playing System created by Fantasy Flight Games and produced by Edge Studio. A show in which we, your hosts, discuss all things Genesys from both a player's and a GM's perspective. I am Tony Fanning, and with me as always are my good friends and co-hosts, Chris Holmes, Stefan Dragonspawn. Stefan, how are you doing today, sweetheart?
I'm doing great, honey. I'm on location. I'm all bug sprayed over, so to repel any invaders. And I'm eager to talk about my favorite role-playing system.
Oh, sweet.
What we won't do for our hobby. How are you doing, Tony? Sorry, Chris. Passing along to Chris.
Oh, I get it. I understand. I hear you there, stuff. Okay, so the hobby has had many epic moments for me the last couple weeks since we've last recorded. A TPK with an asterisk, a really good epic character moment that I haven't had in a very long time. Safe to say, probably since Rise of the Rune Lords and our argument right outside in the basement kind of thing with Blaine and you, Stefan. Mm-hmm. That moment we had, probably not since then. Let's see. The other one was an epic fight Tuesday night with one less player that showed up as well. Always awesome. And of course, last night, Alien RPG playing out like a cinematic. Let's just say, disembowelment, ruptured jugulars, and a bloodburster coming out of the disemboweled remains. You know, it was fucking awesome. It was terrific.
Like you do.
And a buddy of mine who hasn't gamed with us in almost a year came back and joined us last night, and that was fucking awesome. And I golfed this morning. Ran out of golf balls. Yes, I don't have a golf ball in my golf bag. Everybody out there is like, yeah, Chris, you suck at golf. Yes, I do. Tony, how are you doing?
Well, I got lots of balls. Golf balls, that is. Because I haven't played yet this year, and I bought a new bag at the balls at the beginning of the year, and I bought a giant bag, and it's hanging next to my golf bag in the garage, and I haven't been out once. But anyhow,
come play with me, fucker. We tried twice this year already.
Fucking 70 goddamn hours a week. What do you expect me to do?
Take time off and go golf.
I would if the company I work for could get more employees to cover all these hours and they wouldn't do it with overtime, that'd be great. But that's not quite the case. But on another note, I did DM some amazing moments as a DM this last week. Also, the one you're talking about, where the character moment, followed by a very good one-on-one session that ended up being a two-player session because I surprised the player and invited in another person to NPC somebody, so to speak, and then but that ended up being really good. I like the way that turned out, and I had it written two different ways. Completely different ways for the whole adventure to go, and just let the player decide which way they want to go based on their character. And they took the left turn instead of the right, so things went down a different road than I was expecting. And but it was a lot of fun as a GM. Those moments are great. Let's see, what else did I do this week that was fun? I don't know. I wrote show notes today.
Was it fun though?
Oh, wife and I went and saw a movie. We went and saw Old.
Oh, really? Oh, I want to
okay.
go see that.
It was interesting. I wouldn't say it's his greatest works, one of his greatest works, but it's definitely one of the better films he's done in the last few years. So
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Nice.
You didn't go see Snake Eyes? I want to go see Snake Eyes. That came out Friday.
yeah, my homie, my days of just seeing mindless adventure films in the theater are pretty much over.
Yeah.
If I want to watch mindless adventure films, I got to watch them at home
Yeah,
by
I hear
myself without my significant other present.
ya. I hear you.
So, anyhow, that's it. Tonight we have a show for you. We are doing episode 87 called Voila, the ZF-1, based on the item that we are going to be picking to design in the Keyforge Secrets of the Crucible armaments and armor creation rules. So let's get on with it.
All right. Hey, welcome to Boosting the Signal. This time, Stefan is mixing it up. Wicked. He's going to be talking about 3 Genesys actual play podcasts. So what you been listening to there, Stefan?
Well, thank you, Chris. I've been following on Twitter different Twitter accounts, and some of them are actual plays. And I decided to listen to a few of them, at least a couple of episodes. And so since we've been doing more actual plays, I just wanted to boost the signal for these guys.
Cool.
So there's the first one called Red Rock, a homebrew by a GM called Josh that is described as a combination of fantasy, steampunk, and cowboys with a smattering of sci-fi on Mars. Yeah, really out there. But in his first episode, he does describe in fairly good detail what the campaign and world is about and why. So that's pretty good, I find. In his episode 0, he sets the ground. He explains well how the tech is used, the arcane, the divine, and the various races, and how it came about, its creation, even the calendar, the length of days and seasons, etc. And from what I can hear of a couple of episodes, it is safe for work if you want to listen to it at work. And you can find them at redrockpodcast.com, available on most podcatchers. And they've got a Twitter at Diceberg_ahead. So that's the first one. Slightly different one is What Comes After. Also a custom setting, like Red Rock, but this one takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. Something happened in the 1980s, and roughly 75% of the world's human population just died. No one knows why. Even autopsies on the recently deceased don't reveal anything. The survivors have to try to find a way to live in this new reality. Again, listen to a few episodes, and it seems to be safe for work. But you have to look for them under Tabletop Tales on your podcatcher, or they've got their website that we can put in our show notes.
Yep.
Yeah, has links to.
Yeah, we'll definitely put those in there for sure.
Yeah, that's it. And finally, one that I've been listening to quite a bit, that I had exposed to a while back, called the Genesys Archives. So it's set in Las Vegas and a bit of Southwest U.S. Sometimes the party characters travel a little bit. So it's a modern world, urban, set with supernatural stuff. So think the Supernatural TV show, The Dresden Files. The GM is heavily influenced by the Dresden File novels and other such inspiration. Set in the shadows, so you've got fey creatures, vampires, magic. It is also safe for work, although some of the descriptions might be a little graphic, but they don't go into too much gore, and they don't swear, at least on the air. They do. This is also this Genesys archive. They've produced something on the Drive-Through RPG Edge Studios, a PDF for their setting. So you can, if you want to play in this kind of setting, they do have a PDF linked to it. So you can find that there. I've talked about it in a couple of episodes back. And again, you can find them under the Genesys archives, but we'll have the link in the show notes. So those are three podcasts. There was a fourth one that I tried to find. I found some links, but I think they faded. I think in late 2019 or 2020, early 2020, they no longer produced any episodes, and I couldn't download anything, so I couldn't get any idea of what they were about.
Gotcha.
But these are
Stefan. I'll go ahead.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and look on Drive-Through RPG for that Genesys Archives link, or back in our show notes, and throw that
Right.
in this episode as well for you all.
Sure.
So
Sure. Thank you.
I made a note here
One-
to do that.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the Genesys Archives once in a while stops mid-episodes, and they'll talk a little bit about the system and certain aspects of it, like the dice. They use a resource instead of actual, counting cash for the account. So the characters roll dice to see if they can afford to buy something. So and they have a supplement for that as well that they came up with. So
Cool.
So that's about it. So yeah, I hope in this case I've boosted the signal for these 3 podcasts. Listen to them, check them out, see if you like them, and let us know what you think of them. If you have any feedback, welcome any feedback. So that's it for boosting the signal, guys.
Fuck. All right. Here we are at the books of Genesys.
This is a fucking mail.
You're gonna interrupt me, motherfucker. Make sure your goddamn internet is working. Jesus fucking Christ! Fuck! Yeah, we're not safe for work, by the way. And by the way, this is where we break down section 01 of the books of Genesys bit by bit. This time, we're going to be exploring the armaments and armor quick design rules presented in the Keyforge book, starting on page 138 and ending on 146. So we should open up your book, and I'm at the end of it. Damn it. 138. Let's see. So armaments and gear we're talking about. And when we're talking about the Crucible here, secrets of the Crucible in the Keyforge setting, man, we got a lot of different people coming in here. A lot of different races from anywhere. Anything from what the fuck did you create there, Tony? Like that amoeba, on
an amorphous gaseous being that psychically controlled things. I don't fucking remember.
Yeah, so good luck creating a goddamn weapon for him. But we got rules here to make one, right? Or maybe how about that suit of plate mail armor to put on that amorphous whatever the fuck, right? Who knows? You know what? But by God, these rules are going to help us make something to do that with. And that's really one of the things here is you just. That's why they're so generic, so that you can get those basic concepts for a weapon to do it. And you work with your GM to kind of morph it into what makes sense for the creature that you're playing, And when we're talking about creating weapons for, in Keyforge here, we have, we have a basic weapons table here, and then we're going to be adding traits to it. But kind of basic weapons what do we have for basic weapons here? If either one of you guys want to, are you still there, Stefan? Sorry about yelling, but I had to. Is he there?
I
Did
hope
we
so.
lose him?
Cutting out. Okay. I'm going to continue.
Okay.
So I'll go. So the first one is it's the brawl weapon. It uses the brawl skill. Has a damage rating flat. Now these are just the base level, right?
Yeah.
These are if you're a GM and you're using mooks for any game, this is a great chart to have because you can just throw one of these basic weapons in your mook or your goon or whatever's hands, and you're done. It doesn't have to have any special abilities or anything at all. This is just the stripped down version of everything. And if you want it to be even more stripped down, give it the inferior 1 quality, and boom, they get a setback die, and off we go. But basic weapon, the first one is brawl weapon. As brawl skill, 0 damage, crit 5, range engaged, encumbrance 1, base price of 25 units a measure. In Keyforge that's ambits, but in any setting that is a unit of coinage,
whatever. Yeah.
Right? 25 whatevers. Schmeckles if you want it to be schmeckles. Simoleons if you want it to be that.
Kolaches,
bottle caps, rarity 1.
Oh.
And then it goes on from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got your one-handed melee weapons, two-handed melee weapons, which basically the only difference between those are you're adding a +1 to damage on your one-handed melee weapon. Your crit is going to be 4. Still going to be obviously engaged in encumbrance of 1. Your price will be 50. The rarity will be 2. Two-handed weapon, melee weapon is going to be 1 more damage. It'll be +2 damage. Same crit of 4. Slightly heavier, encumbrance of 2. Double the price again to make it 100 units of, kolaches. 100 kolaches there. And then still rarity 2. Go ahead.
Okay, well, and Stefan, can you go on to do the ranged ones for us?
I sure can, Tony. So ranged weapons, of course, are weapons that hit at a distance.
Yeah.
So it's split up into 3 one-handed range weapons, 2-handed range weapons, and gunnery weapons. So one-handed are your pistols and revolvers and just the blaster pistols. Damage 5, crit 4, short range, very low encumbrance 2, 150 simoleons, and rarity 3. Of course, then two-handed range weapons would be your submachine guns, rifles, bows, crossbows. They start with a base damage of 6 and crit of 3, medium range, encumbrance 3, 500 smackaroonies, and rarity 3 as well. And finally, the big guns, the gunnery weapons, the bazookas, chain guns, the 50 cal auto rifles, and the quad laser cannons. Base damage of 10, crit of 3, and with a very long range. Encumbrance of 5, a bit more bigger, much bigger, bulkier, and much more expensive at 1,400 mbits, and a rarity of 5 because they're a bit more hard to acquire.
Now, I don't know if you said it, but they use the gunnery skill.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Hence, gunnery weapons.
I think more times than not, they
range.
Yeah, and I think more times than not, they would be found mounted on vehicles.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing
Or-
Rambo, carrying around
Yeah, or-
the M60.
Yeah, or on big tripods or some kind
Yeah.
of mounting.
Hey,
Mhm.
what's wrong with a goblin walking around with a neutronium mortar?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially if it's
Oh.
mounted to his fucking back.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Well, you think of the Marines and aliens, they had some pretty heavy set on this harness that was on them.
Fuck yeah, and even Velasquez, man, she's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, man.
All right,
Cool.
so that's your base weapons, and then we go on from there to actually add traits to them. Now, there's some hard and fast rules for how to add these traits, and we'll go over those. But these weapon traits, there's a long, expansive list here. It isn't the only ones that are out there. If you can think of one that's out there that you want to use, be sure to add it to the list. What these do, they add to the weapons, they adjust its profile. So any item qualities listed on chart 3-2, the weapon traits, any of those qualities, if they give you a plus blank to damage or plus blank to or reduce critical rating by X, that's cumulative. So if you have multiple effects that have the same quality, for instance, if you have flaming, which gives it the quality of burn 2, or radiant, which gives it a quality of burn 1, then those add up to give the weapon a total of burn 3. So that's one of the rules. What are the others, particularly concerning, say, rarity?
Well, there is something that I want to clarify before we go further.
Oh yeah,
Is to describe really what these weapon traits are inherent properties of the weapon itself. They are not item attachments. They are not like that. What is it? The razor sharp blade, right? That reduces your crit. No, this is just intrinsically part of the weapon itself, and they don't count as item attachments. They don't count towards the limitations on hard points or adding attachments or whatever system you're using there. If you are using the optional like attachment rules with hard points or whatnot, these don't count towards that. And
correct.
Right. So but when you do add one of these qualities and traits, and what Tony was saying is that it will alter the price and it will increase the weapon's rarity by 1 for every trait you include with it. Okay. Then you just follow the rarity rules on page 82 of the core books, and that will walk you through it a bit. Let's see. Yeah, just and then again, it does say here that if multiple traits add the same quality, just sum their ratings to determine the final effect. So,
how about encumbrance and critical stuff? There's some bold parts about that.
Yeah, this is very important too.
Stefan?
Sorry, my system is held
Gotcha.
hanging. You guys
Gotcha.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
Okay.
Talk to that.
A weapon's final encumbrance or critical rating cannot be reduced below 1. So that's important.
That makes sense.
Some of these, and there's more to it, but some of these items will reduce a cost, or will reduce a critical, or will reduce the encumbrance rating of an item.
You can't always crit something. If it's 0, you're always critting something. It costs nothing to crit. Yeah, that's not it. That's what that would mean. And then the weapon is always going to weigh something. Right?
Correct.
Or it's going to have a mass or size. So
yes,
your encumbrance can't be 0. So
correct. And then the second part of the sentence is, and its price cannot be reduced below the base price of the original weapon. So that's important. So when your brawl weapon, when you're modifying one, you're not getting it for 1 credit.
You get it minimum 25 or whatever that is. 25 kolaches, that's all you're going to get it for.
Right.
So,
so yeah, a gunnery weapon's always going to cost you 1,400 pieces of awesome.
Yeah, yes, they will.
All right.
And then you guys are probably asking, well, then how many traits should we have up there? It's saying here should be allowed up to 3, though the GM will always have final say. May limit you to 1, may limit you to 5. Who knows? Depends how many all you want to get with the campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more than 3 kind of indicates a very specific device, usually a kind of a plot device or something that the players, maybe a MacGuffin,
or maybe a ZF-1,
or maybe even a unique weapon unique to a specific adversary in the game.
Right. Yep.
It's important that the GM really just lay that out right from the get-go, though. What is your maximum? Suggestion is 3. And then there's a final step to creating each and every one of these. It's a really important step that people don't really think about, and I think it's the one that players have the hardest part with. Steph, are you back to be able to go into this one?
Yeah, sure. Which page?
We're on page 139, the last paragraph on the left-hand side.
Right. All right. Yes, I got it. So once the weapon is finalized, players should then decide on its shape, its form, what it looks like, what its functions are. Is it a futuristic bow that uses quantum arrows, as it says? An obsidian foil with ultraviolet flames, etc. Axe with circuitry, inscribed diamond. So doing or sort of the fluff of the weapon. What is it going to be looking like? So the players can also create a bit of a story on how they obtained the weapon, the parts of it, or perhaps even how it was maybe handed down through generations, given to them or found. So that may help make it even more unique. And then devising customized weapons is the goal. So players should feel free to get as detailed as they want for their characters. So the GM has maybe final say, but he can definitely let the players' imagination run loose.
Excellent. Yes, and the key is that you want to theme that basically. Again, a lot of these weapons are going to be cultural. They're going to come from a certain cultural aspect. So if you're using one of the existing cultures in Keyforge, you already have that framework on how to build it. If it's Brobnar, it's going to be violent looking and older tech and oversized. And if it's Martian, it's going to be compact and have a weird effect and kind of goofy looking.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing we might have missed, though, is that these traits that we're talking about, that we're going to be going over, like we said, they're intrinsically part of the weapon. They can't be added later. So when you're purchasing it, when you're creating this, you don't add these later. Unlike attachments that you can put on and off. Yeah, go ahead, Troy.
Look at it this way. This is the way in the case of your advanced technologies, this is the way the weapon comes off the factory floor. Yeah. You get it in a gun shop or you buy it off the factory floor. This is what you're getting. This is that process. This is the design workshop in the factory designing the weapon. In the more ancient cultures, it's what the blacksmith does in his shop before he hands it to you over the counter.
That's right.
That would be the base weapon. And then adding the traits is almost like customizing the weapon a little bit more. So you've got a gun, but I want a gun with extended capacity, gun sights and so forth. That's more customized. But after that, it's like, all right, too bad.
Yeah, I can very easily see this first trait, adaptive. Quickly respond to incoming threats, flowing, reforming itself automatically in response to attacks that would shatter other weapons. Basically, it gains reinforced. I can very easily see this trait being applied to a katana made in ancient Japan. Right? Yeah, that is how those swords were made.
Yeah.
Yes, those are how those swords were made. They do not break. Right?
True story. Now, there is a sidebar here, and I want to go into it because this is important to Keyforge itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, if you're using a system that has a arcane fuel, like if you're using it in your world, an arcane fuel like Ember, like we have in our Primordial Machina setting where we have the Fey Crystal, it's important that you look at the sidebar here on page 139, and that is some weapons and armor require one or more Ember to activate an item quality or special ability it possesses. Ember uses this way. Ember used this way is utterly consumed. It's gone. Each such activation has a specific duration that it lasts for. An additional Ember will be needed to activate that bonus again. Now, if you are using this system to create weapons for a non-Keyforge setting that doesn't use fuel types, then you're going to need to come up with a way to activate these things. And the simplest way is either with advantage or story point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into them.
Yeah. So I went
You
over
already
the first
brought
one.
up the first one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, adaptive. Yeah, and this could be it's basically the description. So I think the table gives you the mechanic. So gains reinforced, costs 300 kolaches. I'm using kolaches because kolaches are awesome. They're so fucking good. To the price, so that adds to the base price of it. And then in the flavor text here, so you want to read both to get the idea of what they're kind of meaning here. So what's the next one?
Antimatter. So weapon can leak a stream of anti-particles designed to crack and shatter almost anything. As a maneuver, the wielder consumes one Ember, and this weapon gains the Sunder quality until the end of the encounter. So there's the duration. Now, what it'll say on the chart is that +1 encumbrance, consume one Ember to gain Sunder. It doesn't tell you the duration on the chart, so you always have to look at the fine print. And then there's, of course, the increase in price of 200 smackaroos. What's next, Steph?
Next one is one that I kind of like, can leave some room for interpretation, is Bloodthirsty. It says, the weapon is laced with Ember imprinted with anger and yearns to cause pain and death. You go to the mechanic side, and it reduces critical rating by 3, of course, minimum of 1, unwieldy 3, and vicious 2. Oh no, that's the brutal. Bloodthirsty and reduce critical rating by 3 and gains unwieldy 3 for 700 smackaroos.
Right.
So I would race fairly common in their weapons. It becomes a pretty big axe or hammer with spiky bits that are easily able to tear into opponents. Right. But it's big. You need the strength of a giant.
No, you don't. You need agility. Unwieldy is agility.
Right.
You're thinking of cumbersome.
Right. It's cumbersome. Right. Still,
right.
You still need to be able to control the weapon, or else it's going to fly into your hands and
control you
and attack anyone. Yeah, even your friends, maybe. That's when you use threat.
Certainly.
But it could be Ember could be something else. Fey crystals that have been corrupted with violence, or just special circuitry in
But I can see fake crystals. I can see fake crystals or Ember being mined from like where once a great battle had occurred, or like some ancient battlefield or whatever, where any of these just bloodthirsty will just give you the bloodthirsty quality on it.
And I think you cut out really bad when you said it when you were talking, Stefan, but I think you said it was a Brobnar as a race, as a culture.
Yeah.
Okay, because the word cut out, but I kind of inferred what you said there. They would have a lot of them with this trait, I would say.
A race like that, would definitely, or orcs, or half orcs, ogres.
Right on.
A warrior race, sorry. Probably have something like that. but no, don't limit yourself to let's say just a melee kind of weapon. Just because it says bloodthirsty, this could be represented instead with technology or sorceress rituals that imbue the weapon with this kind of ability. So
you may have a gun barrel that's laced with this bloodthirsty, the bloodthirsty ember, and any shot or whatever you shoot out of it is just bloodthirsty. That bullet really wants to kill somebody.
Well,
it comes out of there screaming, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Imagine a railgun, a Gauss cannon. Side effect is like almost. It sounds like almost like a scream as the bullet just rips, subsonically or supersonically.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly.
What's next, homie?
Well, to kind of go hand in hand, almost with bloodthirsty, you've got brutal, which is, it's fairly cheap at 100, adding 2 damage and the vicious 2 quality. However, it is unwieldy of 3, so you do need that. You do need that agility of 3, or else you're going to be taking setback dice anytime you freaking use it. You also gain inaccurate 2, so regardless, you're going to have 2 boost dice or 2 setback dice anyways whenever you wield this weapon, and that'll pretty much make Stefan cry because that's the opposite of boost dice. So
that's it.
He's probably not going to be wielding any brutal weapons. His characters.
So keep that in mind,
know.
folks. Keep that in mind. If you have a brutal and a bloodthirsty weapon, it's going to have unwieldy 6. You better have an agility of 5 so that you only have 1 setback die.
Yeah.
Oh, those add up? Do those?
Yeah.
Those do add.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's right. I read that part too, didn't I?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, not safe for work, everybody.
Oh.
More. Bob, how you doing out there, buddy? Sorry.
The memory is going there, Chris.
Yeah, and I read that part too. Fuck.
Yeah.
Next, I have
Sam Squatches. Sorry,
goddamn hella cocksuckers. All right, next I have.
Hey.
All right, I have collapsing is the next property. Some weapons seem to be drawn out of nowhere. The wielder carefully translates them into a proper form from a state of dimensional folding, whatever it may be. In this case, the chart says that a collapsing weapon uses the user can lower the weapon's encumbrance and ease to detect it by taking it in the wordly section, the little notes here. It says, as a maneuver, wielder may collapse the weapon to restore it to its regular form. The weapon cannot be used in combat while collapsed. While collapsed, reduce the encumbrance value of the weapon by 2 to a minimum of 1, of course, and add 2 setback dice to checks made to notice the weapon on the wielder's form or identify its purpose. So in the case of, let's say, you have a weapon that is actually your belt when it's collapsed. It holds your pants up. So, when you get into a fight and you want to pull it off, you have to take that maneuver to transform it to back into a weapon. So that one's pretty cool.
Yep.
What's next, Steph?
Then you've got the crystalline trait. The weapon was grown from crystals or incorporates them in its design. These components enable the weapon to harness energy, whether it's spiritual or technological, in ways that a less sophisticated being cannot comprehend. So that gives the weapon +1 encumbrance, but you do gain accurate 1, and it gains also the quality of stun 3 for the low price of 650 smackaroos.
Oh, nice.
That can be pretty cool.
So, if you guys don't mind, do you guys mind if I take both of the next two? Because I think they're lame.
Yeah.
How they're presented here. I think they're both fairly lame. Only because the name of them and their abilities and how much they cost. Because first off, when I think of disintegrating and when I think of disruptive, I think of disintegrating. I think Mars attacks. Little fucking
Yeah.
Martians, Bazorch, and humans like ash.
Ack,
I'm not
ack,
picturing,
ack.
and though it says this armament design outputs a tremendous amount of energy. Obviously it does. When it inflicts damage, sends ripples of force through its target, reducing significant its victims to little more than ash. I don't picture +1 damage, Pierce 1, and Vicious 2. Sorry, I don't picture that. I picture something more. I don't know what. Maybe a special rule. But
Breach 1.
not this.
Vicious
Not
4.
this. Yeah. Why not? Breach 1, Vicious 4. Absolutely. Something like that. They've missed the mark here, in my opinion. Disruptive. I think Romulan Disruptor. Pistols, rifles, whatever. Same fucking thing, right? They're gonna die. Weapon uses high-frequency sounds, dazzling lights, chaotic energy to cause intense pain. Stress in most targets, regardless of their psychology.
Physiology.
Sorry, physiology, sorry. +1 damage and stun damage? What the fuck?
Well,
+1.
What it is
Plus
that
100?
intense pain, stress, and those things are going to be strain on the character. The
They
fact that
are.
it does stun damage, it inflicts to strain.
Is that soakable or not?
It's soakable.
Yeah, lame.
Yeah. If it's stun damage, yeah, it would be
Lame.
soakable.
Lame.
Yeah, well,
Sorry,
that's
lame.
your opinion, buddy.
That is my opinion. So sorry, you guys missed the mark on that. Just wanted to let you guys know.
All right. Well,
I just
the next
picture special rules for it or something for these two.
the next one's spot on. Exactly, the rules work the way it should. The next one is double barreled. The weapon has a second firing barrel or a twin striking implement, so that it can double its effectiveness. And that on the chart means that it gains the linked 1 quality, plus 250 smackaroos. Woohoo!
Perfect.
Nice.
Step.
The next one, a bit out there, a little bit weird, called Dreaming. A combat device that has the ability to touch the target's mind, disrupting normal neural flows and distracting it with alien imagery and concepts. So that one basically allows them to gain the Disorient 3 quality for 150 simoleons. So this could be any kind of thing, array that disrupts neural flows. Doesn't have to be all hippy dippy kind of thing or mystical stuff. It could be just technology, just electricity warping someone's brain a little bit to see all kinds of weird images or distorting their senses. But that's what it does.
Concepts. Don't forget about the concepts too.
Yep, exactly.
Imagery and concepts are
Yep.
fucked up.
Oh,
Make you dream.
alien geometry would make my brain hurt.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Oh,
I'm in a
Yeah, I can-
hypercube. Fuck.
yeah, I can smell blue.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah. What's
Go ahead,
next,
Holmes.
Chris?
Well, pretty much happened at Kana Nakab a few years ago. Explosive.
Oh yeah.
After we had those nachos, Tony. The weapons you have the explosive quality.
I don't
Right.
think so. I think this is
Game.
actually that was venomous. But go on.
Well, there's that, but Daryl turned right around. We almost blew him right back out the door. Anyways, so the blast quality equal to half the base weapon damage. So we're going to be 250 kolaches to be explosive. So with this, the Esh runes on this weapon ensure that every attack, the ground shakes and swaths of enemies fall. So now there is an interesting note here, and obviously got to kind of read the fine print. This value changes as the weapon's base damage changes, such as if your brawn increases on a melee weapon. Okay. your link
Got it.
characteristic. Okay, so this explosive quality will increase, and then depending on how many plates of nachos you have, share with Tony, that explosive quality will increase.
Oh.
So, right.
Right on.
All right, moving on. What's next?
Extending. So extending these weapons stretched dimensionally so that it can hit things further than it appears to reach. The weapon's range cannot be increased beyond extreme, and if this weapon uses the brawl or melee skill, the difficulty of the check it uses will always be average, no matter what its range. So that's key important thing. It's always going to be 2 purple dice if it's a melee weapon. But having that extended battering ram, come in handy at short range. So it increases the weapon's range by 1 band and adds 750 bottle caps. So, yeah, nice one. Stefan.
Yep. Okay, why does this one fall on me?
I don't know.
You guys calculated this in advance, didn't you?
No.
All right. The next, yes, you did.
It's
The next one is
serendipity.
Flaming.
Flaming.
I just got it. No.
So yes, of course, flaming. So the weapon now does +1 damage and gains burn 2.
Does
For
it?
three-
Does it,
for three-
Stefan? Does it gain burn too?
Yes. Oh, Chris, really? That T-shirt with that top bottom? No.
But it's
Well, fire.
stylistic. It's a stylistic choice, though,
Yeah.
Stefan.
So fire is the most. Is more than just stylistic choice. This weapon enables user to light their targets on fire.
Burn, baby, burn.
So they burn. Really? What did you do with your hair, Tony? No.
Oh, what hair? Wow.
Exactly.
That's below the belt there, Stefan.
No.
The way
It's on
you
top of his
like
head.
it. No. Anyway.
Now, don't put words in my mouth. You know what? That's not what I want.
Yeah.
Next.
Next one, I think they fell short on as well. Hallowed gains the superior quality, which you get to add an advantage for 600 kolaches. I would much rather eat 600 kolaches than add an advantage. Because Hallowed says some weapons have a reputation that goes far beyond their physical appearance. This weapon has an associated legend about how it was created or who wielded it in the past. Fell way short on this one. I think a special rule probably should have been created for this, where enemies who come and hit you, they have a setback die because they're like, fuck, he's wielding Excalibur, or he's wielding that axe that killed that dragon with one fucking hit with.
It's Goblin
come on.
Cleaver.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, narratively, again, as a GM, you can expand upon that a little bit. If it is something that has a storied history, well, turn that into boost dice or setback dice during social encounters too.
Yeah.
As a GM, you could expand upon these, right?
Oh, you totally could.
Well, yeah. Well, for example, Goblin Cleaver in The Hobbit, the Goblin King just recognizes the sword that Thorin was wielding. He's like, oh my God, no, not that weapon.
That's right.
Right. Instant
The bow
despair.
hammer.
Instant upgraded social checks against this guy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, why wouldn't they have that here? Why wouldn't they have put that in here? That's what I'm asking. I
guess because weapons don't normally come into play during social encounters.
Okay.
Yeah. And even then, for something like that, it could be like more like a name like Legendary instead of Hallowed.
Right. I get you.
Reputation.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. Look, you're trying to add all of the qualities or a mix of qualities from the core rulebook, and I think the way to get superior on there without saying, calling it superior.
It's a legendary weapon.
Yeah. I think that's the way they did it. But
yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. Right.
Next one is cool. It's super cool. Jet propelled, or as we that are not safe for work say jet fucking propelled. This weapon includes jet engines either behind the striking surface, rocket hammer, fuck yeah, or on the ammunition to add additional force to the impact. This makes its force particularly staggering, sometimes often literally. As a maneuver, the wielder consumes 1 ember, and the weapon gains the you asked for it, concussive 1 item quality until the end of the encounter.
I like me some concussive qualities there, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
I like to stun lock your bosses, Tony.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But the actual chart says plus 2 damage, consumes 1 ember to gain concussive 1 and knockdown. And that is a hefty 1,100 extra pieces of awesome.
Yeah. I would just warn. Yeah. All GMs out there, just gotta warn the concussive quality, man. It's just boss fight breakingly disappointing for the GM sometimes. But it is what it is. It's fun, but it just beware.
If you're playing Cockknocker and you want to make the rocket fist that punches people in the ball sack,
like you do,
1,125 pieces of awesome, and it's yours.
You know it.
What's next?
Yep. Next is the magnetic trait. So this weapon uses powerful hyperdimensional magnetic fields to both restrict the target's ability to move and protect its wielder from harm. So this could be interpreted in different ways, of course, whether it's a net or any other method. But basically, it allows the weapon to gain deflection 1, ensnare 2, and cause stun damage. So it could be a very good weapon that is used to capture their foes instead of killing them. Good for bounty hunters.
Yeah, your bounty hunters. Yeah,
or big game hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So only 250 smackers.
Nice.
What's next there, Chris?
Well, here's that Brobnar weapon you were thinking about. That is massive because strong warriors choose to wield weapons that are proportional to their size. Because they basically take damage to 11, and I'm not talking base damage. I'm like they turn the knob and they turn it to 11 because you're adding 4 damage to the base damage of this damn thing. Because it's so much bigger, you're adding also 3 encumbrance.
Yep.
And you better be strong as fuck because it's gonna have cumbersome 4. Yes, cumbersome 4. You need a brawn of 4 to not have any penalties wielding this thing. But if you do hit somebody, you will knock them down. Because if you do have a brawn of 4, you are going to be rolling at least 4 dice. And you better be trained in heavy weapons or at least melee weapons to get that knockdown, to hit them down.
Get those advantages.
Get those advantages. That's right. And it will be cost you 200 kolaches.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have you got to keep up that nice big massive frame, but you got to sacrifice 200 kolaches before you do it.
All right, so the next one is methodical. Just plodding along right here. Even on the battlefield, some weapons need to be properly tuned before they achieve their full effect. In some cases, that patience can have merit. So a methodical weapon reduces the critical rating by 1. Because you got to dial that sucker in. It's going to gain plus 3 damage, plus 1 encumbrance, and gains the Prepare 2 quality.
Oh. And
prepares the
number of move actions, right?
Number of maneuvers.
Maneuvers you got to do, right?
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yep.
It's still doable in one turn by spending 2 strain.
Yeah,
But
your sniper cannon, that would be definitely something appropriate for that.
right. And that's an extra 250 smackers. So yeah.
Nice.
Methodical.
And then after that, we've got mono-edged. The weapon's striking surface is honed down to the thickness of a single molecule, leaving it capable of slicing through virtually any substance. So mechanically, that gives that weapon reduces the critical rating by 1 and gains Pierce 1. Maybe it falls short, a bit like what Chris says for some of the other qualities, like, oh yeah, 1 molecule slicing through anything, Pierce 1. That's it. Critical 1, -1, maybe a bit more.
Probably.
Maybe only for 150 though. So maybe for every 150, it.
And maybe that's what you can. Well, you can. I mean, you probably can then. But
yeah, add it multiple times. I don't know. Anyway, maybe talk to your GM about it.
Yeah.
That's just our opinion.
That feels weak sauce too.
I mean, I remember these are cumulative, so there are other things that people could take, and I think the idea is to keep that Pierce rating at a modicum of some sort of normal number. Right. And I think if you notice, there aren't many of them that have a Pierce rating, and those that do, it's either 1 or 2.
Right.
So that you can't add them up to get a Pierce of 6.
Right.
And I think that's
I mean, I would probably do, to make a katana, I would probably do adaptive, bloodthirsty, and mono edged. Right? I mean,
that could work.
That would be pretty
There's
awesome.
others, but yeah.
There are others probably. We'll see. Okay, so let's see. So this next one, this gets into some weirdness, because you're able to strike across numerous dimensions with this weapon. Or it possessed or has like multiple barrels, delivering a terrible assortment of hits of along the target. That's awesome. I like that. Terrible assortment of hits. So as maneuver, you need to consume an ember to activate this trait, by the way. And you'll gain the linked 3 item quality until the end of the encounter. Linked 3 means, yes, you could spend advantage to do damage 3 times. 4 times. 3 more times than the first time. But it's going to add some encumbrance. It's going to add 2 encumbrance. It's going to make it a little heavier, a little more massive, if you will. And it's going to cost 400 kolaches.
Right on.
Yeah.
Next is your lightsaber. I mean, it's radiant. This weapon employs a focused stream of energy that manifests a glowing stream of light, an angry blast of raw power, or similar effect. Radiant makes a buzzing noise when you swing it.
Yes.
It has +1 damage. It gains burn 1 and has stun 2 because it's so bright. Right. And 250 extra hash coins.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, my weapon's so bright I have to wear shades.
Go ahead, Steph.
Yes. So the next one is rapid. So the weapon gains auto fire for 400.
You didn't say that fast enough.
I know. So these weapons can activate in repeated succession and are capable of striking multiple foes with a single attack or hitting on one target repeatedly. On to you, Chris.
Jesus.
Oh shit!
All right, then we'll go to the next one, which is called Reaper's Sigil. whatever.
Sigil.
Tomato.
Come on,
tomato.
dude.
Whatever, dude. Hey, this is my time. This is my time. you do it on your time.
Right.
Order a pizza on your time. No. Here's a special fucking rule. What'd I tell you, Tony? You could put special rules in the goddamn a table like this, right? Why didn't they do that for the other ones?
I don't know.
Laziness. They could have. They totally
Okay.
could have.
Okay.
Somebody put more thought into this one, and they didn't in the others. I'm upset.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, so add a boost die to combat checks after a target is defeated or killed.
I like that.
For only 50. That's kind of cool. So yeah, so what does it say with the reaping? Like, many demons feed on the energies of terror. No greater fear than a moment of death. Used in a check that defeats or kills an enemy or minion group. Interesting. Yeah, till the end of the encounter. So what are we talking here? Narratively, I mean, would this sigil like come out of the weapon when you kill somebody and their souls go in there? I just watched Mortal Kombat Friday night, the first one. Your soul is mine. You know, where he like sucks his soul out. Is that kind of what's going on here? Is that why you'll get your boost die? Maybe.
Could be.
Could be.
Sure. All right. Next is Savage. Wielder's fury is channeled into their strikes when using these weapons. Attacks made without discipline may not always strike home, but they can be terrifyingly effective when they do. So, the Savage weapon, +1 damage, gains the inferior 1 quality. But, Vicious 1, +100 hash coins.
Good. All right. So the next one up is Seeking. Seek and you shall find. Some weapons are capable of tracking the target, no matter what motion they take to escape. This may be due to spiritual connection to their prey or technological innovation that lets them identify and follow their prey. So it homes in and locks in on their signal, body signature, heat, silhouette, whatever. So that gives the weapon guided 3, which means it gets to almost like a skill of 3 to try and hit again if it misses. It also increases the range for both range and gunnery of the weapon by 1 band for 500 simoleons.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
What's up, Chris?
Then the next one is shielding, which mechanically it will give you a defensive 1 and deflection of 1 quality for just 100 of those ambits. They incorporate defensive measures to protect your wielders. Better to parrying incoming attacks or deflecting incoming blaster bolts with your radiant saber.
Mm-hmm.
There, Tony.
Right on.
Right? What's next?
Oh, dude, singular.
No.
Oh, shocking. Sorry, I missed that. My bad. Skipped one. Shocking.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that I did that. I'm sorry, guys. The weapon employs bolts and fields of electrical energy that disturb most nervous systems. So it gains slow firing 1. Weird, but okay. I'm starting to understand it, maybe. No, I don't understand that part. But the stun 4, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and minus 50 to the cost. But what I was saying was that we're getting to the ones that reduce the cost. And here's one of them. The other one, Stefan?
Yes, the next one is singular. It gains the limited ammo 1. Instead of being a straight minus, it's times 25, so it reduces the cost by 25%. And that means that, let me go back to the page there. So singular, the weapon is a grenade or other thrown device. Alternatively, it may have a unique power supply that exhausts or melts down after one use. This weapon can only be used once, no matter what, including this trait. The weapon's final price, including this trait, reduces the weapon's final price to 25% of its base price.
So 1/4 its base price, not reduces it by 1/4.
No, sorry. Yeah, I misread that. And that including all other traits rounded up. So you do the whole steps of adding all the other traits if appropriate, then reducing it to 25% of the base price.
And of course, with that being a minimum of the base price of the weapon.
Right.
Got it.
Exactement.
All right.
What's next, Chris?
We have Spectral, which is you can only guess that it has a ghostly nature. This weapon does. Either it's like whether it is truly a spiritual weapon or whatnot, or it just is out of phase. That's up for you to choose. Makes it far easier to wield, and you can overcome foes' defenses much easier because of it. Because it does, it's lighter because it's ghostly, so it's lessens the encumbrance by 1. It's more defensive, adds defensive 1. Why? I don't know. That's interesting. But it gains Pierce 1 for equality there. So,
well,
the defensive 1 is a little confusing to me, though.
I could see it a bit like a fencing weapon because it's made with maybe high-tech materials, or it is lighter, easier to wield and block someone's incoming attack, and of course to aim at vital points. So Pierce 1 as well. It could be one way of explaining it.
That I can see totally. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Right on. Okay. So like the next one's like sticky.
Wow.
Yeah. Sticky icky, man. So the weapon includes some adhesive effect, which causes targets to become trapped in viscous threads or gooey liquid, man. Cool. So the sticky weapon reduces the damage by 3. So yeah. But it gains ensnare too. And it reduces that cost down minus 100 smackaroos.
Your goo gun.
Yeah.
Basically.
Gooey gooey.
This is caramel. We can only get out of it by eating it. But I'm diabetic. Darn. Then the next one is transdimensional. So it consumes 1 ember or any kind of resources to gain breach 1. Big gun in this one, for a total of 1,200 simoleons. So the actual text will explain a bit more. So maybe advanced scientific principles or arcane rituals, or a mix of the two, enable this weapon to transcend physical reality and project a force that destabilizes the target's dimensional existence. As a maneuver, the wielder may consume the ember. This weapon then gains breach 1 weapon quality until the end of the encounter. So that means most people's personnel armor, you can ignore that. Any kind of personal soak. It'll take 10 points of soak for them to stop even 1 point of damage.
Yeah, that armored personnel carrier coming your way too. You might even be able to put your radiant saber through that too, easily enough.
Exactly. So you'll be able to go through 1 point of vehicle armor. Planetary scale, basically. Soak.
That is awesome. Well, the last thing that we have on our list here is Venomus. It adds a damage. It adds a deleterious effect to the weapon for just 300 of those poisonous kolaches that you're eating. So be careful. When you do, basically, pick your poison. Literally, pick your poison. And mechanically speaking, if it does inflict a wound, now, like a critical injury, you can't inflict a critical unless you inflict a wound on the target. This is the same thing. So, it's like a damaging poison, right? Like a wounding poison, if you will. The target will need to make a hard resilience check, and if they fail, they're going to suffer 5 more wounds, plus 1 strain per threat they generate on their resilience check. And if that check produces a despair, then they have to make a resilience check at the start of their next turn or suffer the same effects. Yeah. So fair nasty. And
this is not soakable.
Not soakable. And we've seen this effect on, I think, Dagger of Venom. Venom of Dagger. Dagger of Venom. Any creatures we've seen with poison attacks. Basically, this is right along in those lines, right?
Your snakes and spiders. Oh my.
Yeah.
And assassins.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right on. So that's the list of the ones that were on the chart. But, I mean, how does this all work? I mean, we got to build something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I gave us a little challenge, and it's right in our episode name. And that is, we're going to build the ZF-1. That is right, the Zorg Industries ZF-1. When you absolutely must get vengeance on your enemies, it is the choice of the galaxy. Now, we will include in the show notes, if you've never seen the movie The Fifth Element, there is a brief clip from YouTube of the sales pitch for the ZF-1.
Yeah, it's freaking brilliant. It's so good.
And let's start off now. You watch the clip, you'll know that the weapon has it's a fully automatic 2-handed rifle with arrow launcher, a flamethrower, and iceberg system, right? And a net launcher. It's got a bunch of shit.
It has all.
But what's this little red button here?
Exactly.
Well, see, that's a secret feature that you don't. That a true warrior asks about.
Exactly.
That's right. So you said it there, Tony. We start off with the 2-handed weapon. The base.
That's right.
The base weapon
range weapon
is a 2-handed ranged weapon. That's right.
So our base price is going to be 500 pieces of awesome.
Yes, with a damage base of 6,
right?
A crit rating of 3,
right?
And a range of medium, and a rarity of 3.
Yeah, as a base.
As a base.
Right. And an encumbrance of 3.
And an encumbrance of 3. That's right. We have to worry about that too, don't we?
Okay. So first thing, it has auto fire. That thing shoots a lot of bullets super fast, right?
Well, yeah. So rapid.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, it's rapid. Yeah, we have to add rapid.
Yeah, we're gonna crank that on there. That gives us that gains auto fire, but it increases the price by 400. We're up to 900.
It's a fucking flamethrower, man.
Oh yeah.
It's got to have flaming, doesn't it?
Flaming. It's a flaming weapon.
Okay.
Flaming weapon.
So we add that on. Now what's that add, homie?
That is going to add 1 damage. It gains the burn quality and 350 kolaches.
Burn 2, by the way.
Right.
Oh yeah, burn 2. Sorry, yeah, burn 2.
350. So we're up to 1,250 on the system.
Would we? I don't know if we would consider it double-barreled because it really doesn't fire the same thing twice.
Well, fires if you wanted to add
different things.
Right, if you wanted to add the double-barreled for the difference between the bullets and the arrows, but really that's a narrative effect, right? It's got
really
the arrows.
But I would almost, I would almost do the multiplexing. Fucking linked 3. You could do all of that shit 4 times.
Okay,
Maybe?
multiplexing.
What do you think? Is
Yeah,
it?
we may not. Yeah, we may not have seen all the features.
Well, hang on a second. Wait a second. Before that, it is seeking.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, come on. He
Yeah.
fires
When you
once.
see the when you see the clip and then he turns around.
Yeah. I mean, that is it. That is a quality that needs to be.
So
in there.
seeking, it has guided 3, increases the range for ranged weapons and gunnery weapons by run. So it's
So
going to
now
go up
it's
the long
long.
range now.
Yeah, that's
Range
that's
weapon
good.
with an extra 500 simoleons.
So 1750. And you're saying add multiplexing to it so that we can come into being able to
narrative
use
thing.
the narrative of the different systems.
Yeah,
But he only uses them one at a time.
He does. Maybe not multiplexing then.
Okay.
Maybe not.
All right. What? It's got the iceberg system too. With the net launcher, both of those are kind of themed exactly the same.
Maybe sticky. But that will reduce this. But that'll reduce.
Let's instead go with the other one, the ensnare, or what was the other ensnaring one?
They're magnetic. Yeah,
magnetic.
There it is.
Magnetic.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
And
they
then
just reskin the magnetic. Yeah.
Then you can do stun damage if you want to.
Right. And I don't think we need to give it deflection. It doesn't really have a deflection quality. So we'll just drop that off. GM choice. I mean, you're giving it a 4th feature.
Why don't we get rid of deflection 1 and increase ensnare to 3?
That sounds good.
Yep.
So ensnare 3 and
250 for the cost.
250. So grand total of 2,000 euro bucks.
Yeah, dude.
For this thing. But it's a rapid, seeking, flaming, ice shooting, net launching, ranged weapon that goes out the long range. It does a base damage of 7, a crit rating of 3. It has burn 2 and snare 3, stun damage. Yeah. Guided, linked.
Yeah.
Nasty.
That's pretty sweet. Would it be
for a narrative effect? Sorry, Chris.
No,
you could give it the explosive quality for it, but it's only like a self-destruct. Only if someone actually presses the button. And like all the ammo inside or whatever explodes.
We could give it, instead of just calling it explosive, we just call it self-destruct, and it does the base weapon damage.
That's it. Yeah,
blast.
Shiny red button. That's what we call it.
Well, that's why they're so cheap. So it has that little feature right there that kind of reduces the cost a little bit.
Yeah. But it'll still max out your multipass. So
that's how you can afford 4 crates.
Yeah, there is that. I don't see anything else on here other than bloodthirsty. That would, but I think we've covered all of the.
Yep.
So voila, that's your ZF-1, and that's pretty much it for the weapons. And now we've made a kind of decision here on the fly that we're going to go ahead and split this into 2 shows. So stay tuned next time for our regular scheduled show topic, which will be in a month, and we'll go over the armors in that section.
All right, welcome to the next segment that we call On the Slab. And in this segment of our show, Tony chooses an adversary from one of the many, many books of Genesys, and we dissect it bit by bit. So, Tony, what's on the slab today?
Dude, it's totally cool. All right, so we got this Ember Drake, right? Page 220 of Keyforge Secrets of the Crucible. Big motherfucker. All right. This thing is huge. It's a nemesis. These huge multi-winged reptiles appear in some of the earliest accounts of life on the Crucible, in tales of flying terrors eager to devour Ember and ferociously guard their feeding grounds from would-be prospectors. Air travelers often employ lookouts just to watch for the far-off blasts of their Ember fire, which usually indicate an attack is imminent. Right. So
What
these
the-
beasties are one of the few creatures, again, in Genesis, that have a ranking in a trait that is higher than 5, with their brawn of 6, agility 3, intellect 1, cunning, willpower, and presence of 2. They're a brute.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think the Brawn 6 is what truly makes them brutish. The next stat does.
Oh, soak 10.
What the fuck,
Yeah.
Tony? You might as well,
Okay.
just give them armor 1.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
what they did, because these things are vehicle hunters. All right, so they have a wound threshold of 41.
Mhm.
All right, a strain threshold of 30.
Wow.
Melee defense of 0, a range defense of 1.
Nice.
Right.
Skill-wise, athletics 2, brawl 3, cool 1, perception 2, range 3, survival 2. Again, these are just brutes, man. They're used to, they're just hunting, consuming, and defending their territory.
Yeah, I mean,
Nasty
you talk-
critters.
Yeah, I mean, that Brawl 3, right? That big fucking claw is coming in with 3 yellows and 3 greens
Yeah.
without even doing anything else.
Oh, and
That's what the hell?
if you thought they weren't tough enough with their, because they didn't have a lot of defense because they don't have a lot of armor. Guess what? Adversary 2.
Well, yeah.
Boom. But what really makes these things shine is this ability right here, their special ability, the Ember Belly. A character may make a hard survival check to open up a freshly slain Ember Drake and remove 2 Ember per success, 5 per triumph from the check in this way.
Right.
Or 5 per triumph spent in this way.
Hmm.
That right there. Okay, so these things. This is the creature, the only creature that I've found thus far that has in its ability has a harvested resource inside of it,
That's great.
and that is really what we're trying to reskin here and On the Slab.
Okay, that's cool. I like it.
So the other abilities, Flyer, we've seen that before.
Yeah.
It uses the simple fly rules. Silhouette 4.
What the
Thing's
fuck?
a
Yeah.
vehicle.
Hang on a minute.
Okay.
What the hell is the size of that? Gosh damn it.
Silhouette
big.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Let
I
me
mean-
put that in terms of for you. In Star Wars, your light freighters are Silhouette 4.
Yeah.
What the hell? That's great.
So it's the size of Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big
Zeppelins, 3-masted sailing frigates. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
big
okay.
motherfucker. All right.
Big motherfucker.
All right. So next ability, because it's got more.
I
Tail
love
flick.
I love the name of that. Tail flick.
Yep.
What does that do?
May
Tony?
spend a triumph on a successful brawl check. So, in other words, it's brawling you with its claw, right? It's coming at you with this big, massive claw. Scores a triumph. Hey, guess what? You're getting hit with a tail flick too.
Yep.
So,
Tail just flicks around and whoosh.
this may spend a triumph on a successful brawl combat check to inflict 1 critical hit on a vehicle of Silhouette 3 or less at medium range.
Okay, just to give you guys a tractor trailer. Freaking Optimus Prime is Silhouette 3.
Yeah.
They can tail flick Optimus Prime. Okay, just
Yeah.
to let you know.
Yeah.
A jet
Boom.
starfighter. He could tail flick an F-18.
Yeah.
Or
Starscream.
F-22. Starscream. Tail
Yeah.
flick.
So these things are, again,
That's
a
great.
creature that's designed to fight vehicles.
Yeah.
Terrifying appearance. They're not their
Oh.
last ability here.
Ooh.
So their terrifying appearance is the upgraded version of frightening. At the start of the encounter, all opponents must make an upgraded twice by its adversary ranks. See, they did it here too, like I've said to do before. Upgraded, that's to daunting
Mhm.
fear check. So 2 red, 2 purple. As an out of turn incidental. And you must see page 243 in Genesys Core Rulebook for the rules on fear. If there are multiple sources of fear in the encounter, the opponents only have to make 1 fear check against this thing. because it's the most fearsome thing around.
Which it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing that.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your player characters have pretty powerful vehicles, this is something that can go up against the power armors and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Oh, hell yeah.
Small
So-
attack choppers.
This is definitely not something you're going to throw at weak, low-level players, and I'll get into why. But equipment-wise here, it's attacks. We got an Emberfire Breath, ranged is the skill, damage base of 8, a critical base of 2, range of the weapon is long, with the following qualities: blast 6, breach 1, burn 3, slow firing 1. Nasty.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it's got its jaws. This is where it gets nastier. The jaws are a brawl weapon, damage 11, crit 3, range is short. It's got that really long neck.
Yeah.
And then what makes homie cry? Breach 2.
Yeah, I was just checking out.
Nap.
So I went to the core book, looked at an aerospace superiority fighter, Starscream. It has an armor of 2. It's not
Right.
going to do shit against this
Nope.
guy.
So
It's
remember
paper-
the classic
Paper airplane.
remember the
gonna do it.
classic Amazing Stories
Yeah.
line of magazines that came out in the early 80s.
Mm.
And there was
Yeah.
one short story that was in there about an F-18 fighter pilot fighting a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was
You could
a-
play
picture
that out. You could
Yeah,
play
there's
that
a
out. if you'd
drag-
like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a Dragon magazine that does a cover. Yeah.
Last item that they have here, and it's built into the stat block, is the scales that give it a +4 to soak.
Hence the brawn of 6 plus 4 to the soak because of the scale. Soak 10. Got it.
Yes. Okay, so
Perfect.
well, how the hell do I transform and transmute this thing to other games? I mean, to other
Mhm.
systems. Well, again, you're not doing a lot of vehicle combat in Terranoth, but this would still be like the ultimate dragon, right? In Terranoth,
Yeah.
this
Oh,
would be,
yeah.
and you want it to have like a mineable resource in Terranoth.
Mhm.
So what I made, reskinning it, is the Rune Drake.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
So you have the Rune Drake. Think of it as the mineable resource is you actually can harvest a rune from this thing if you make that hard survival check to harvest the rune
Right.
from this thing's skin when you kill it.
In Tiernoth, do they have it? Do they have like fire runes? Do they have ice runes? They have
They
different.
do.
Like
Yeah,
helmet
they've
runes.
got.
So you could
There's a ton of
totally
different runes.
reskin this to like the ice breath, or to have like an ice rune inside, right?
GMs, you
type
could
of-
tally have your
Yeah.
players, hunt one of these things for a long time. Take an airship full of troops, fight the airship with this thing. Be just an epic encounter.
Mhm.
But yeah, that one easy. Okay. Another one I thought of would be like in a mythic setting, we call it the Hydra of Prometheus, because being Prometheus, that he's the one who's gave fire to man. So there's some sort of magic inside this creature, some sort of permanent boost to you as a player. Maybe it's a magic item that's harvested from this creature, or maybe it's
Maybe just the blood.
maybe it's
It
just
could
the
be
creature's blood could be
Yeah.
harvested to
Harvested,
give
yeah.
you a temporary superpower of some kind, or a mythic
Yeah, or-
ability.
Yeah. Maybe the blood represents specific story points you can spend that are once they're spent they're gone.
Yeah. Either way, it's a mineable resource
Yeah.
from this creature. And again, being as large as it is and as nasty as it is, it really fits a mythic setting with gods and sorcerers of great power and demigods and all of that. The Greek mythology or the
That's it.
Norse mythology. Super
Yeah.
huge dragon.
Yeah, because you can imagine big heroes like Achilles and Hercules. They could probably be doing a lot of damage that could go through that soak.
Oh, yeah.
Right on.
Or being given a special weapon that's just made for the Hydra. The special sword given by Zeus. You can
Question
destroy it, but
is-
only you can wield it.
You know what I'd
Right.
like to see? I would like to see Killzak go up against a Rune Drake, see if he can one-shot the fucker.
So
accepted, Tony. Just kidding.
maybe. Now that I hear about it, okay. So and then the next one I thought of because I do when I think about Android. Okay, well, how can I bring this giant dragon thing? Well, come on, Android. It's a robot, right? It's this huge robotic creature. I got it like a Draco SRAD is what I wrote it up as, which is self-repairing assault drone. And so think of it as this like autonomous thing that some mad roboticist has made and just let loose on a city. And militaries are worried about this thing.
You could almost call it an SRAC.
Right.
See, instead of a drone, you can call it a craft. It's so freaking big.
It is. There could be a netrunner inside that you have to get out of there. Maybe it's a trapped netrunner, one of those guys that's kind of a ghost in the net type person. Or you could even have
an AI,
a self-repairing, harvestable nanobots that do the same effect as kind of what Ember would do, is they fuel some effect in certain other weapons. If you really got advanced with your in the technology side of your
cutting edge technology, it could be a huge thing with instead of the wings, rotors that tilt, and then that long tail could be just another type of energy whip.
Right on. Again, think of this thing is basically a mechanized kaiju, right?
Yeah.
So, and in a very Japanocentric game, if you set it in Neo Tokyo, you totally could have somebody do this easily,
like Mechagodzilla, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In an advanced technology world, the Japanese. I know my grandmother's Japanese, my dad's Japanese. Totally would make something like this if they could. Just saying.
Mecha Mothra.
There we go. The last one, I kind of thought, well, what would I theme this for Primordial Machina? And honestly, it'd be exactly the same except for the words Ember Belly. It would be Fey Crystal Belly, because seriously, it's a crystal drake. It's a draconic creature that has been feeding on Fey crystal and mutated.
Yep.
And grown large in size and savage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a belly full of Fey crystal. And you're going to send an entire airship or a group piloting machina out to hunt this thing.
Yep.
And it's going to be them guys in vehicles versus this thing.
Yeah.
That'd be a sweet ass fight, dude.
So
nice.
That is today's On The Slab.
Nice.
Welcome to Advantageous Threats. This is a show segment that everybody loves, where we build, roll, and narrate some die results from sample skill checks for our entertainment. Not really care whether it's for yours.
We love it.
No,
we hope you do.
I've heard from a lot of our fans that they like it too. But
good.
This time, I will run Stefan and Chris through a brief scenario that I've set in the Android setting. They'll be using a couple of the pre-gens from my Chrysalis Crisis adventure that I wrote 3 years ago for Con of the Cop.
Yeah, at least.
These pre-gens that you guys are playing, which ones did you pick? Let's start with you, Stefan.
I chose Pandora. She's a cyborg career soldier, specializing, of course, in usually heavy guns. The heavier, the better. And she's got quite a bit of hardware on her with cyber legs and arms and other cyber organs.
Nice. And of course, pink hair with pigtails.
Of course. And monofilament katana. Crystal katana, excuse me.
Nice.
With a glow, of course, that matches her hair.
Right on. All right, Chris, who'd you choose?
Well, Well, I've got Zane Tunes. Call me Tooney. I'm from Luna. I'm a grifter. I basically talk people into giving up stuff that they want that they really don't want anyway, or whatever. Do you owe the? Don't tell anybody, but I kind of owe the Japanese mob money. I kind of like the one-armed bandits. I'm gonna win someday. I just know it. I'm not really good with computers or anything like that, but really all you really need are lockpicks. You really get in anywhere. Or, you charm the right guard or whatever, they'll let you in anyway. Who cares? It's all about the con. It's all about the con, the long con.
And if you can't open the door, I'll blast it open.
And it wouldn't be.
That's why I've got Pandora with me.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be Android without the. What does he look like? By golly, he's walking around with a mohawk and mirror shades, man.
That is true. That is what he looks like. Yeah, he does. He has that picture is awesome. I love it. Yeah,
All right.
mohawk and mirror shades.
All right, so you guys have been hired by lunar crime boss Nyong'o Spear to procure a rack of Star Sparrow interceptor missiles from Port McNair on the far side of the Challenger planetoid. Blah, say that 7 times fast.
Mm-hmm.
So out on the Challenger planetoid, which is the thing that's at the end
of the elevator, right? The space elevator.
Beanstalk. It's also got a nickname as the Castle, right? Because it's the castle at the end of the Beanstalk.
Okay. Okay.
And this is just a small planetoid with microgravity, which might as well be 0G. And it's
there's no place like
on the far side of it, which is the side that never sees Earth, is this military base called Port McNair. And they have these defensive missile batteries, which are pretty famous, that are used to shoot down hostile incoming missiles. They're known as Star Sparrows. And you've been hired to procure a rack of them for this crime boss on Luna. So he happens to know a guy who's going to be able to help you get into the facility, a 0G storage bunker on the far side of the planet. So what we're going to be doing, though, is planning that heist.
Right.
Okay.
So we're going to do this in what we like to call a skill challenge. So with 2 of you, we're going to ask for we'll go with 9 accrued successes before you have 3 failed checks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is an infiltration and also kind of it's a theft, right?
Yep.
So we're going to need to have a list of skills for that. And that list of skills that I have is going to include stealth, skullduggery, deception, any silent weapon skill. If you use a non-silent weapon skill, it will be upgraded.
Okay.
So if you're using like melee, brawl, or if you're using a silenced weapon that you've specifically purchased, then range light could come in handy. Obviously, you cannot silence a long-range weapon. So a silent weapon skill. Then we also have listed computers hacking.
Right.
And do you guys have one you'd like to add to the list? I left the last spot open for player input. I have an idea if you guys don't come up with it.
Well, let's see here. I'm not looking at my skill list. I'm looking at the list you've given here. So for infiltration and theft, We have stealth, skullduggery, deception, silent weapon skill.
I was thinking, since we're planning ahead with athletics, which we sometimes have to deal or coordination, since you have to deal with microgravity.
I like athletics
Maneuvering.
only because it's both getting the stuff that we're needing out, because these are big. How big are these missiles? I mean, because
It's probably like a rack, yeah.
And because it is going to be in 0G, I'm thinking athletics, maybe coordination.
Excellent, you
Go to
guys. So if you
Or
hadn't
both, I don't know.
chosen athletics, that was the skill I was going to add.
There we go.
So very nice.
The hive mind.
All right, so stealth, skullduggery, deception, silent weapon skills, and athletics are the listed skills. Now those are all going to be average difficulty. Anything else beyond that, difficulty's up in the air.
Great.
Got it. Okay.
Now we'll do this in rounds, and we're just going to go in alphabetical order. So that means that G comes before H. Mr. Last Name Stefan, you go first.
All right then. So she's planning ahead a little bit. We'll start with the athletics. See how that pans out on how she can think of getting in. She's not used to microgravity. We'll see. Try that. She'll try that. She's got a yellow and 4 green. She's got a good brawn of 5 brawn. So she's a strong girl. All right, and so an average difficulty. Here we go. And okay. I would give her an automatic setback, because she's it's a new setting for her, microgravity. She's used to 1G gravity.
As a matter of fact, because of the microgravity, you are going to have innately on any physical skills while performing the act are going to have 2 setback dice.
All right. So there we go.
And now you guys have 2 story points, and I have 1 on my side. So are you going to be upgrading your pool at all?
No, I think I'm good with it.
Okay.
You as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do it. I have my phone app to do this. The Genesys app, which recently was free for on iTunes and not that, but for Apple and Android. If anyone can still check it out, it might still be free.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. All right. So unfortunately, no successes, but 3 advantage.
All right. So the first failed check of your 3 failed checks. This is going swimmingly.
Yeah.
How many successes do we need?
9.
This ain't an easy one.
Oh.
You're stealing from a military base.
Yeah.
In space.
Yeah.
In space. Just the 2 of you.
Exactly. So I'll pass along the 3 advantage, 2 advantage to my buddy there, Tooney, and 1 advantage. The other advantage as a boost dice to whoever acts next.
Oh, I see how you do that. All right.
So I get 2 boost dice to this. All right.
Yeah.
Most excellent. Okay. Well then, I am
having garnered a bit of information on 0G microgravity a bit. I don't know.
Well, you're first off, you can't use brute strength in 0G. You fucking idiot. Good lord. I'm using coordination. I do not get the 2 setback dice because I am a low G adept and I do not count 0G environments as difficult terrain, and I do get to add a boost die to coordination checks.
Whoa!
Made in
you
low
get
G
3 boost die to your freaking roll?
And I have one athletics, one yellow and 2 green, and it was not on the list, so I'm guessing it's a hard check at least, right?
Coordination is a hard check. Okay. Correct. It is not on the list. So
would you like to do anything to this?
It is going to be hard. No, I think since it's your natural environment, I am not going to upgrade this check. I mean, you were born on the moon. You know low G.
Yeah. Okay. We are canceling that and that out. I have a success with 2 advantage.
All right.
Which I will pass a boost die on to Pandora's next check with 1 advantage, and I would like to spend an advantage to gain a little extra information. Maybe in the 0G, I went up as we were maneuvering around. I found out maybe something I didn't realize before.
Okay.
Who knows?
So, yeah. One thing you didn't realize before is that the bunkers are built upside down. The gravity that is the microgravity that they have actually pulls away from Earth because it's spin gravity. So the buildings on the offside of this planetoid are built with their roofs on the ground and the floors on the inside of these. So you're looking at everything upside down.
Yes, they're using centripetal force shit. You know.
Yep.
So what your natural thought process would be, well, we break in the roof, we go down. No, that's the floor. So there's not going to be access points on the roofs of these buildings because that's the actual floor. So that helps.
Alrighty then.
All right. So we're at 1 success. After round 1, we're at 1 success and 1 failed check.
Okay.
So round 2, Stefan, what is Pandora doing?
All right, Pandora now going to use her melee skills. She's pretty handy with that katana.
Mm-hmm. Right, so
and
maybe there's some guards in the area you got to cut down.
Yep, and it's a very silent weapon, so not a problem.
Now, obviously, being space, or being an environment where there's no these are drones. You're not actually cutting down a dude.
Right.
So just let you know that.
All right, not a problem. And I get a boost die from my friend Toonie.
Okay, so these drones being out here, they have a little bit of extra shielding because of their the environment that they're in. So you're going to go ahead and add a setback die for their armor.
All right then. Not a problem. So we had a boost die, a setback dice, 3 green, 2 yellow, and 2 purple.
How many setback dice do you have?
1 setback dice.
You need 2 more because you're in 0G still.
Do I add the 2 more, Tony?
Yes, you
physical
do.
Check.
All right.
Any physical checks in 0 jet gravity.
All right. And I'm going to spend a story point this time and upgrade one of these. Yep. Just remove that one.
These are just minion drones, so there's no adversary to worry about. So you should be all right.
All right. So let's go. 2 successes.
Nice.
But 3 threat.
All right. So the 3 threat is cutting into these things with your charged crystal katana has put a level of damage on the weapon.
Right.
You've cut a group of these drones down.
Yeah.
That you just like silently out there in the freaking cold of space, just cutting these things down. But in the process, you put a level of damage on your charged crystal katana.
Yeah,
so it'll have setback dice for the remainder of the encounter.
All right. So yeah,
intelligence repair, actually.
Yeah. And but at least she's cleared the way. So
nice. Well, keep them all from me, damn it. So I would like to break into this place. Would this be an electronic locker latch or is it a mechanical locker latch?
It's a combination of both, actually.
Okay, then. Let me tell you what I do have. The lockpick set, I get to add an advantage to mechanical locks, and with my lock breaker talent, I get to add 2 successes to electronic locks. So I'll be able to add both of those then, right? To this skullduggery check?
You will.
Okay, excellent. All right, let me build this up then. It's going to be, first off, it's going to be average.
Because we're doing a narrative use of the skullduggery check for now. Normally, if we were doing this in a structured encounter, you'd roll both of those checks. to do both. But we're doing both, so
Okay.
you're doing both. And because of that, I'm going to auto upgrade once.
So red.
Yeah.
1 to red. And do we have we do have a story point on our side,
You
right?
do.
If so, I will upgrade.
Okay. And then I am going to spend a point so that you still have one on your side at the end of this,
So
because
two-
it's military.
2 red. Okay, and I think that's all I have. Okay, so I have 3 yellow versus 2 red, but I'm also adding 2 successes and an advantage to this check too. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have any setback dice being in 0G because I'm from the fucking moon. All right, here we go. Oh, shite buckets. I have 3 successes, 2 threat.
So 3 successes puts you at a grand total of 6. Very nice. 2 threat. So, and that's after you balanced it with your 2 extra successes and the.
Yes, I got, yeah. So basically on the dice, I had 1 success, 3 threat, and then I took out 1 threat with the 1 advantage, and then I added 2 more successes. So.
Okay. What, if you don't mind me, what die did the 2 advantage show up on, or threat?
I don't know. I only had 2 red.
Okay.
So they were all red. It was only red dice. So yeah.
Okay.
Remember?
All right. So the threat came
Yeah.
on one of those upgraded die, and I'm
Both
going to
of
say
them.
it came because you were trying to cut into this as Pandora was fighting those drones.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
took a bullet from the
Oh.
drones,
Bam! So I'll take a
Stray bullet.
a stray flechette round, which is pretty silent out here, hits you. So with your 2
Ow.
threat, I'm going to throw 2 wounds at you.
So that's 2 of 12. Ouch. Okay.
So now, taking a stray flechette out here, you're also
Mhm.
giving me a good reason to upgrade your next check. All right, so we're going into that's round 2. You guys are sitting at 6 successes of
Yep.
the 9 you need, and
Right.
1
But we're
failed
in.
check.
But we
Or
are
1
in.
failed
though.
check. Well, we still got the last round of this encounter.
All
So
right.
let's start with Pandora.
All right. Pandora, now that she's cleared the path for most of the drones there, she's going to try some stealth
All right.
and move stealthily through this area. So she doesn't have any skill ranks, but she does have agility of 4. So 4 green, the 2 purple, and 2 setback dice, of course. And what the hell? I'll upgrade once.
Nice.
Okay. Remove that one. All right.
Okay, so there are normally robots in this facility. They
Mhm.
don't require sight. The lights are off inside this facility. It is
Right.
completely pitch black. So on top of it being 0G,
Mhm.
you now have the darkness to deal with.
That's all right. I've got infiltrator goggles, so that removes any kind of checks due to darkness or smoke.
It removes any kind of setback dice from those checks. Excellent.
Yep. Yeah. Up to
All
2.
right.
2 setback
So-
dice. So she slaps those down.
In she walks. All right, so
that's all right. So let's do it.
yeah.
All right. Woo! 3 successes, 2 threat,
Yeah, baby.
2 threat, and a triumph.
All right. So
Well done. Well
3
done.
successes, you get
Yep.
in,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
the crates are there. There's a crate that is man portable that you have just enough between the 2 of you strength to just weasel out of here.
No. I have a
Oh,
1.
she's got-
I have a 1 brawn. I'm not going to be helping. Sorry.
That's okay. She's got big
She's
guns.
She's going to
she's
be
got the-
following me.
She's got the big guns.
I'll be
talent.
leading the way. I don't do manual labor. I talk, and everybody else to do it for me. Go ahead. Follow me.
Plus she's got load-bearing gear, cyberware. So yeah.
Yes.
But
she's all
The
built
heat
for
of the
this shit.
moment, trying to get in here and
Yeah.
trying to get Tooney in here and pulling out some tape to cover up the hole on his suit has caused you some strain. So take 2 strain for your 2 threat.
All right. Not a problem.
awesome.
And what do you want to do with that beautiful triumph at the end?
Oh, well, with the triumph is that for some reason, while all of that was going on and him bypassing the locks, there was no security alarms set off. It was on, for some reason, a diagnostic mode for a while.
Nice. So you
But our
planned your
contact
op
was
to
fine.
occur right as the system was rebooting for its annual software
Yeah.
upgrade.
That's
I
it, or
can't remember.
biannual, or whatever it is. Yeah.
I've got to remember that guy as a contact. He had some good information. He was
Yeah.
spot on with the fucking timing of that.
Yep.
Right,
All right.
on. So,
And Honor Goggles is the timer's like, okay, we don't have much time there, babe. Let's go out. Let's get out of here.
All right, follow me.
very
I've
nice.
rigged up a shortcut for us.
So the planning of this heist, you guys took it to the next level. You took it out right as you took these things right out as the system is upgrading. So narrate the whole scenario. You're on your way in, and you run into some threat of some ground-based drones, but you quickly cut them to pieces with your crystal katana, while they're firing a flechette rounds at you guys, while Tooney is cutting through the locks, the electronic locks with his lock breaker, and picking the physical lock with his lockpick set at the same time. Wham! He gets hit in the ribs backside with a flechette round, causing his suit to leak. But right as the door opens, you go through this airlock. You quickly rush to get a strip of tape on his
emergency tape.
To patch his suit, and then the airlock finishes opening, and dark room, but there's one beautiful, easy to lift for Pandora's cyber bulked body crate full of these missiles.
Yeah, she just expertly unclips whatever is holding it down onto the floor. Clack, 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 onto her shoulder. All right, let's go.
Excellent.
Let's go, babe.
So tune in next time when they actually have to deliver the goods and avoid the double cross.
Nice.
All right. Well, no, Stefan, we're not going to be doing that. And yes, I'm going to leave that off the show. I'm going to cut that out.
I hope so.
So next time, we're going to have Tony's son Sean join us again when I run Tony, Stefan, and Sean through part 3 of Primeval Thule, Secret of the Moon Door, our actual play series. Probably 1 or 2 sessions of that. Hope you guys are having fun with that. I know.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty awesome stuff. And yeah, I guess with that, was there any listener feedback or anything else we want to?
Nope,
nope, not this
just
week.
That little caveat you just mentioned at the end of Advantageous Threats, Stefan. What was that?
Oh yes, notice that Pandora's katana is reinforced, so it would not have been damaged, but we can still use the threat to say her swinging arm.
There you go.
Was slightly damaged. So that's where she swung so hard that a couple of servo engines overheated or sprung a small leak.
She put her
Right
maybe
on.
it exploded, and she put her arm up and took some shrapnel.
That's it.
And that's important because players, you got to pay attention to your weapons abilities, and tonight is a great example. You can put all kinds of special qualities on those weapons, and when you have them there, you got to remember they're there. Reinforced, handy.
Yep.
Can't damage my shit, big GM.
Nope,
Find a new way to spend that freaking.
That's it. Well, I did. I didn't have the GMs do it. It's like I can help the GM by determining what else is damaged. So
That's right.
It makes sense for the arm or the shoulder to be damaged. There you go.
That's right. See, it's a cooperative game. Not only are us players cooperating with each other, we're cooperating with the GM to have him screw us over or her screw us over as much as possible. What it's all about. Because it's all about having fun, right?
Yep, and being cool.
That's right. Being cool, have fun.
All right, so if you want to talk to us, you're going to have to reach out to us You can email us at findingthenarrativepodcast@gmail.com. You can speak to me and Stefan over on Facebook, Finding the Narrative. All three of us got a nice little chat going with Matt Grunswig and Jeremy Hall over there in the
MeWe land.
MeWe land. And you can also have a nice little chat with Stefan at FTN_Genesys.
And I have been
Twitter.
chatting. Yeah, I have been chatting a bit with a few people there, Alexi and a few others, Cody and a few others. Sometimes they're asking me questions, and some good feedback there.
Awesome.
Right on. So recommend us to others at Finding the Narrative Podcast on Podbean, where we are at almost 60,000 downloads, gentlemen.
Awesome. Oh, so
Nice.
close, I know.
And I did look today to see just how many kind of followers we have, and we're at about 200 plus followers on Podbean, 200 plus on YouTube, 200 so on Facebook. We're almost ready to start saying we have scores of listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm impressed with you guys. My friends.
We are legion.
We are legion.
So you can Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and more. So this is Tony saying, let's tell a story, spend the story points to upgrade that check.
Yeah. And this is Stefan saying, dare to ask for those boost dice if you can, or pass them along.
This is Chris saying, remember the rule of cool, and always bring your cybernetic soldier with you to carry all your shit. And just have fun doing it, everybody. Good night.
Good
Adios.
night. We're not.
Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast, is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned on this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or appear on our website are the property and copyright of their respected owners. All items are used under fair use and educational and review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast. Copyright
2021.
all rights reserved.